everyone, especially to my PE instructor, Sir Cyrus Lester Velasco. I am Diane Grace Amparo Brihildo, and I am a first-year college criminology student, currently studying at Summer College, College of Catbalogan, and I am here to discuss the different types of martial arts, which is harness, kickboxing, aikido, karate-do, jiu-jitsu, judo, Wing Chun Kung Fu, Muay Thai, and Nunchaku. I will also discuss the introduction to taekwondo, which consists of rules for taekwondo, dojang and student, taekwondo oath, Korean terminologies, basic stances of taekwondo, the Philippine Taekwondo Association and its vision and purposes, the tenets of taekwondo, the taekwondo training program, which also consists of pomsi, kyorugi, and kyukpa. And lastly, I will discuss bowing. So first, I will discuss the different types of martial arts. First is harness. Harness was developed by indigenous populations of the Philippines who use an assorted range of weaponry for combat and self-defense. The origin of harness can be traced back to native pintados or then tintados fighting techniques during conflicts among the various pre-Hispanic Filipino tribes or kingdoms. Through the current form, a Spanish influence from old fencing which originated in Spain in the 15th century. The founder of harness is Remy Amador Presas, that was born on December 19, 1936 and died on August 28, 2001. Remy moved to United States in 1974 where he taught his art via seminars and camps. In 1982, he was inducted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame as Instructor of the Year. He published several books and videos on modern harness and recognized as the father of modern harness. Second is kickboxing. Kickboxing is a stand-up combat sport based on kicking and punching, historically developed from karate, Muay Thai, and Western boxing. The term kickboxing itself was introduced in the 1960s by Japanese boxing promoter Osamu Noguchi for a hybrid martial art combining Muay Thai and karate, which he had introduced in 1958. The term was later also adopted by the American variant. This was further explored during the early 1960s when the competitions between karate and Muay Thai began, which allowed for rule modifications to take place. By the middle of the decade, the first true kickboxing events were being held in Osaka. Third is aikido. The basic skills of aikido probably originated in Japan in about the 14th century. In the early 20th century, they were systematized in their modern form through the work of the Japanese martial arts expert Yoshiba Morihei. There are no offensive moves in aikido. Aikido's founder Morihei Yoshiba was born in Japan on December 14, 1883. Aikido is a martial arts system and self-defense system that resembles the fighting methods jiu-jitsu and judo, and its use of twisting and throwing techniques, and its aim of turning an attacker's strength and momentum against himself. Fourth is karate-do. Karate evolved in East Asia over a period of centuries, becoming systematized in Okinawa in the 17th century, probably by people forbidden to carry weapons. It was imported into Japan in the 1920s. Several schools and systems developed, each favoring somewhat different techniques and training methods. The father of modern karate, Funakoshi Gichin, was born on November 10, 1868 in Yamakawa Shuri, Okinawa Prefecture. He was of samurai lineage from a family which in former times had been vassals of Ryukyu dynasty nobles. By age 11, he had already made a name for himself in Ryukyu-style martial arts. Karate-do is an empty-handed art of self-defense in which the rise can be controlled by a demonstration of strength. Fifth is Jiu-Jitsu. Although the origin of Jiu-Jitsu can arguably be traced to Buddhist monks of India, Jiu-Jitsu was the battlefield art of the samurai of Japan. Helio Gracie was a Brazilian martial artist who worked together with his brothers Oswaldo Gastão Jr. George and Carlos Gracie founded and developed the self-defense martial art system of Gracie. Helio Gracie was born on October 1, 1913 and died on January 29, 2009. Jiu-Jitsu is a family of Japanese martial art and a system of close combat that can be used in a defensive or offensive manner to kill or subdue one or more weaponless or armed and armored opponents. Sixth is Judo. Judo is generally categorized as a modern Japanese martial art which has since evolved into an Olympic and Paralympic event. The sport was created in 1882 by Jigoro Kano as a physical, mental, and moral pedagogy in Japan. With its origins coming from Jiu-Jitsu, Judo's most prominent feature is its competitive element, where the objective is to either throw or take down the opponent to the ground, immobilize or otherwise subdue the opponent with a fin or force the opponent to submit with a joint, lock, or a choke. Strikes and thrusts by hands and feet, as well as weapons defenses, are a part of Judo, but only in pre-arranged forms and are not allowed in Judo competitions or free practice. Kano Jigoro was born on October 28, 1860 and died on May 4, 1938. He was a Japanese educator, athlete, and the founder of Judo. Seventh is Wing Chun Kung Fu. Wing Chun Kung Fu originated in southern China under the reign of Kangxi Emperor. It began in the border region between provinces of Yunnan and Sichuan, which has a rich source of martial art development during the Qing Dynasty. This period of history is commonly known as Manchu Dynasty. Wing Chun Kung Fu is considered to be one of the three great martial art styles of southern China. It was founded during the Qing Dynasty by a Buddhist nun Nangmui of famed Shaolin Temple. Wing Chun is a concept-based tradition Southern Chinese Kung Fu style and a form of self-defense that requires quick arm movements and strong legs to defeat opponents. Softness and performance of techniques in a relaxed manner is fundamental to Wing Chun. 8 is Muay Thai. Muay Thai, sometimes referred to as Thai boxing, is a martial art and combat sport that uses stand-up striking along with various clinching techniques. This discipline is known as Art of 8 Limbs as it is characterized by the combined use of fists, elbows, knees, and chins. Nai Kanom Tom, the father of Muay Thai, another quick popular Thai legend, is that of Nai Kanom Tom and lends truth to the ability of highly skilled Muay Thai fighters. 9 is Nunchaku. Nunchaku is a Kobudo martial arts originated from Okinawa, Japan. It is taught to dan grades in various karate schools. It is also sometimes practiced as a separate Kobudo art without first learning karate. Nunchaku is a traditional martial arts focused on the use of nunchaku as a self-defense and a training tool. Nunchaku techniques revolve around learning basic strikes while being able to control the weapon. In more modern times, the nunchaku was popularized by the martial arts icon, Bruce Lee. It is widely used in karate and the Okinawan Kobudo martial arts. Nunchaku is considered a great training weapon that develops quicker movement and improves posture. The term nunchaku is from the Japanese Rukyan language. Next is rules for taekwondo, dojang, and student. First, student must obey and respect their instructors, parents, teachers, and senior ranks. They should bow and greet masters and instructors wherever they meet. Masters and instructors must be addressed by their last name like Master Chu and Master Chan. When you have a conversation with them, you should address Sir or Miss at the end of each sentence. Rule number 1 is like the situation. For example, you are a student, then you meet your instructor on the hallway. And as a student, you need to bow and greet your instructor, and you need to address your instructor using their last name. Like, you will say, "Annyeonghaseyo, Mr. Kim. How are you today, sir?" Second, please arrive on time or earlier to stretch in order to prevent injury. Late arrival students should wait at the entrance and will be asking to do their stretching before joining the class. Third, wear a clean and tidy uniform before entering the dojo. Students should tie up their long hair or use a headband for medium long hair. Fourth, bow to the flag, then according to their ranking when entering and exiting the dojo. Fifth, students should not enter or leave the class without obtaining permission from masters or instructors. Sixth, to show respect and considering the safety of the class. During the class, parents and others should stay in the viewing area and should not enter the dojo unless you are invited by an instructor. If you have any question, your instructors will be available to assist you. 7. Line up according to the ranking from the right to the left and the front row to the back. Late arrival, not complete, or without a proper uniform should line up to the back whatever their ranking. 8. No shoes except the taekwondo training shoes are allowed in the dojo. 9. To prevent injuries, jewelries and watches are not allowed to be worn during training. Finger and toenails should be kept short. Students with long nails are not allowed to participate in any sparring or target training. 10. Food, alcohol, tobacco, chewing gum, loud conversation, negative behavior, and foul language are strictly prohibited in the dojo. 11. Senior must behave and set a good example for the juniors. 12. Students should always practice at home and try to memorize their patterns before they come to the class. Considering the progress of the class, a special training group in the class will be available to assist the students who had a difficulty for memorizing their patterns. 13. Try not to miss any class as our curriculums are very tight. If you miss any class, please ask your instructors and classmates to catch up what you have missed. 14. Instructors will give notice to the student if we are going to practice sparring in the next class. Students without proper protections are not allowed to do any sparrings. 15. Students are not allowed to teach taekwondo to others without the permission from the instructor. 16. Students are allowed to use taekwondo for defensive purposes but never be offensive. 17. Students should be polite, honest, humble, and always observe the tenets of taekwondo. Next is taekwondo oath. 1. I shall observe the tenets of taekwondo. It means that we need to apply the 5 tenets of taekwondo in our daily life. The first tenet of taekwondo is self-confidence. So, we need to believe in our own abilities in order for it to be called self-confidence. Second is modesty. We need to be a humble person and have a humble opinion of oneself and one's achievement in order for it to be called taekwondo uniform. And dobok is like this what I am wearing now. Pomsi means formation or kata. Annyeong haseyo means morning greetings. Sugu hasusumnida means departure greetings. And next is the basic stances of taekwondo. First is attention stance. The feet are at 45 degrees. This is the attention position called at the start of the class and at the end of the class. This is also called chariot sogi. Second is parallel ready stance. This is the basic ready stance in taekwondo. Weight distribution is 50/50. Movements may be performed in this stance. Sin wave is generated by coming up onto the balls of the feet and dropping the body's weight. This is also called Narani Sogi. Third is walking stance. The front leg is bent with the knee over the ankle while the back leg is straight. The rear foot is turned out approximately 25 degrees. Weight distribution is 50/50. This is also called Gunon Sogi. Fourth is the L stance. The rear leg is bent and the forward leg is almost straight. The toes, both feet point inward slightly. The body is always either side or half facing in this stance. Weight distribution, 70% of the weight is on the rear leg. This is also called Neon Jasugi. Fifth is fixed stance. Fixed stance is similar to a lengthened L stance except that the weight distribution is even and both legs are equally bent. Whether it is a left or right stand is therefore determined by the forward leg. This is also called Gojong Sogi. 6 is sitting stance. In sitting stance, sin wave was generated by almost straightening the knees, then bending them. Weight distribution is 50/50. There is an obverse or reverse. This is also called Anon Sogi. 7 is close stance. This can be either full facing or side facing. Therefore, varieties Moa John B, Sogi A Moa John B, Sogi B Moa John B, Sogi C Moa John B, Sogi D Moa Sogi. 8 is rear foot stance. Stand with your foot front facing forward and the foot turned 45 degrees to the side. Keep the feet width close together. Weight distribution is 90% of the weight is on the rear leg. Additionally, your front foot should be up on the ball of the foot, heel on the ground. This stance appears in Jonggun. Next is the history of Taekwondo. Taekwondo as it today was developed and founded by Grandmaster General Choi Hong-hee, 9th degree black belt. As a martial art, it is unique to any other in that it utilizes fundamental principles of physics in the development of technique and power. Grandmaster Choi set out to use his knowledge of Taekyu, an ancient Korean form of foot fighting, to develop Taekwondo as a uniquely Korean art superior in both spirit and technique to Japanese karate. This art, which was modern Taekwondo, was founded on the 11th day of April 1955. Grandmaster Choi then set himself to the task of bringing Taekwondo to the rest of the world. Renowned for spectacular feats of power and flying kicking techniques said to have been used by ancient Korean warriors to dismount attacking warriors from their horses. The popularity of Taekwondo spread rapidly to become a martial art practiced all around the globe. Next is, what is Taekwondo? Taekwondo is derived from Korean word Tae, meaning foot, Kwon, meaning fist, and Do, meaning art or way. So, literally, Taekwondo means the way of foot and fist. It is an art of self-defense involving the skilled application of techniques that include punches, strikes, kicks, blocks, dodges and interceptions with bare hands and feet to overpower an opponent. The name taekwondo, however, has only been used since 1955, while the art's roots began 2,300 years ago in Korea. It can be traced to the traditional taekwondo, the art of self-defense, which originated 2,000 years ago during the Silla dynasty in Korea. Taekwondo was taught and practiced among the youth of Warang, who were handpicked to be trained as military leaders of Silla, one of the three ruling kingdoms of the Korea at the time. Next is the World Taekwondo Federation. The World Taekwondo Federation is the international federation governing the sport of Taekwondo. It is a member of Association of Summer Olympic International Federations. The World Taekwondo Federation recognizes national taekwondo governing bodies recognized by National Olympic Committee in each country as its members. The incumbent president of the World Taekwondo Federation is Dr. Chung Woon Chu. And next is the Philippine Taekwondo Association. The Philippine Taekwondo Association seeks to promote, advance, and is the national governing body of Taekwondo in the Philippines. The sport body is a member of the World Taekwondo Federation and Philippine Olympic Committee. Taekwondo was introduced to the Philippines through the efforts of Kim Bokman and Yung Man Park. Grandmaster Bokman Kim arrived in 1970 to continue Park's legacy of propagating Taekwondo. Upon the invitation of President Marcos, Bokman Kim continued to pioneer Taekwondo worldwide and left the Philippines in 1971. Next is the tenet of Taekwondo. First is self-confidence. A person has a self-confidence when he believes in his own abilities. It follows therefore that a person must first acquire these abilities through constant study, training, and practice. True self-confidence is based on true knowledge about oneself and abilities. Second is modesty. And more this person has a humble opinion of oneself and one's achievements among this person is not flashy or showy. The virtue of humility helps a person control his disordered desire for his own excellence, and therefore it helps to create an atmosphere that makes it possible for people to get along together. Third is indomitable spirit. A person with indomitable spirit is not easily discouraged or defeated. Having indomitable spirit requires an inner reflection on things to determine whether they are right or wrong, and then proceeding to do what is right. Indomitable spirit therefore is very closely related to the virtue of prudence. Fourth is perseverance. A persevering person takes the step necessarily to achieve the goal he has set himself in spite of internal or external difficulties, and despite anything that might weaken his resolve in the course of time. The final test of perseverance is the ability to finish what one has decided and set out to do. Fifth is etiquette. Etiquette is the form of conduct or behavior prescribed by custom authority to be observed in social, official, and professional life. It is the manner of acting correctly. Etiquette is an indispensable part of the virtue of courtesy, self-control, and the cardinal virtue of justice. So, in overall, for me, the tenets of your sparring. First is pre-arranged sparring. This is a sparring using a predetermined set of movements. It is usually the self-defense movements, which can be grouped into the one-step self-defense movements of the three-step of self-defense. Second, pre-sparring or study sparring. The right occasion to experiment or try out new techniques is during this kind of sparring. It is controlled or practice sparring in preparation for an actual competition. Third is competition sparring. This is a type of sparring using the skillful techniques and strategies practiced in the gym but governed by the World Taekwondo Federation competition rules. Next is kyukpa or breaking. Breaking or kyukpa is a way of gauging the precision of kicks and the power of techniques by breaking a solid object such as board or brick. This skill is learned and practiced by more advanced players. And before I start how to bow, why bow, and when to bow, I will discuss first what is bowing. Bowing is an act of lowering the torso and head as a social gesture in the direction to another person or symbol. Next is how to bow. Step 1. Attention. Back straight, eyes to the front, arms at the side, fingers slightly curled to a fist. Step 2. Bend forward to an angle of 45 degrees, head down, eyes to the floor. Step 3. Return to chariot position. Next is wide bow. In Taekwondo, we use to bow to honor Taekwondo's Korean heritage by using the Far Eastern cultural display of respect, to show respect to a person or to the person's position or rank, to practice humility, to indicate the start of formal class, to indicate a willingness to learn from teachers and fellow students, to indicate the end of a formal class. Next is when to bow. When entering or exiting the dojang, when first meeting a more senior belt than yourself, including your instructor, when entering or exiting instructor's office, when entering or exiting training area, when class begins and ends, when working with partners,